I'm one of the founders as well as the product manager at BillPin. BillPin is an app that helps friends and roommates easily manage their shared expenses like rent and shared meals and group trips. And what I do at BillPin is basically just to make sure that us as a team, we're building what users need and that users love what we build for them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so funny story actually, when I was in undergrad, right, when I was in my freshman year, I heard about this program. So a big part of it really was luck. Okay, I heard about this program, the exchange program I was telling you about. I heard about this exchange program that would send students overseas, and students would work and get paid something like $1,600 a month. Mm-hmm. I heard about this program when I was in my freshman year, and I was like, oh wow, $1,600, that's a lot of money. I never had that much money before, so okay, I'm gonna work my ass off to like get into that program. Mm-hmm. Turns out it was actually an entrepreneurship program. Mm-hmm. So and since then I started working with the NUS Entrepreneurship Center. I started working with Startup in Singapore, which is our national business plan competition, and then I eventually went on this program which is called the NUS Overseas Colleges Program. Mm-hmm. So that was my first exposure to entrepreneurship, and let's just say it's very addictive. One of the most wonderful things, I have to say, obviously the idea, right, the ideal that you can work on something that you love mm-hmm. and make a lot of money at the same time is just extremely appealing, right? Like, who doesn't want to do that? Who doesn't want to work on something they love and have the possibility of making that much money? I mean, we grow up like thinking that, okay, you can either do this or that. Mm-hmm. But you know, when I found out and I saw people doing this, working on things that they love, and make a lot of money from that process, it was just like, okay, brand new world for me. So I decided to jump into it. And I think the biggest attraction about it really is autonomy mm-hmm. In your choices. Mm-hmm. You get to work on things that you love, right? Work on projects that you're passionate about, and work with people that you like, that you're happy waking up every morning and going, you know, like seeing them every single day. Mm-hmm. And there's also a lot of gratification. Like, it's a lot more immediate. You put in effort, you see results, you know, or not, and you get fairly instant feedback. So I think autonomy actually is one of the biggest reasons. My first startup, I started it. It's called First Meta. It was a virtual currency startup, and I started it in 2006. So immediately after I graduated from NUS. Wow! And it was an insane idea. It was a very, very ambitious and insane idea. I mean, we wanted to become the bank for virtual economies, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody had heard of virtual economies or virtual currencies at that time, and we knew it was going to be an explosive market, mm-hmm. right? We knew the market was going to grow really, really quickly, mm-hmm. and we wanted to be the bank, mm-hmm. you know, to be providing services in virtual currencies. Mm-hmm. So, insane idea. And I worked on First Meta for about 6 years, so the company is now profitable. Oh wow! Okay. Yeah, and about earlier this year, around January of 2012. So what we did was we actually, the company's profitable. It has a good pipeline of partners right now. So we raised a new round of funding from our investor, Plug and Play Tech Center, and we hired a new CEO to take over. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So and therefore I decided to. Traveled around a bit, took a short break, and then I got bored and restless, and said, you know, I wanted to do another startup. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think, you know, we're very, very fortunate to be born in Singapore. I think like Singapore is like one of the few countries in the world where women have more rights than men. Mm-hmm. I think so. Well, I mean, for one, we don't have to go to NS. Uh-huh. But yeah, definitely, I feel like women in Singapore are very, very privileged. Mm-hmm. So if anything, I think it's actually been quite beneficial being a female entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. But that said, I have, you know, for work in the past traveled to countries that were more male-dominated countries, more chauvinistic cultures. So I did experience some of that. Although, you know, the result of that was that I'm a lot more appreciative of what we have here. Mm-hmm. I would say the one challenge, not particularly in the workplace, although I would say that the one challenge has been it's not even like a big challenge, but my mom does come to me on occasion and say, hey, when are you getting married? When are you having babies? And we have that conversation of I'm like, Mom, I can't think about marriage nor babies right now because I have a startup to run. Yeah. So that was the one challenge, I would say. I wouldn't call it an advantage, but so obviously one of the things that startups need to do is to get people to notice them, whether it's users or whether it's press. It helps that the press, for example, are always trying to cover female entrepreneurs. So whenever we have interesting news to break, our friends who work in the media industry are always very, very willing to listen to our stories and willing to help give us a boost. I actually do think that having a female co-founder, or having a strong female leader within the team helps the company. I mean, there have been, I think guys tend to be a little bit more mindful about how they behave around females. So that's one thing, which makes them, it could be a good or bad thing, right? So on one hand, they have to be a little bit more mindful. On the other hand, I think they tend to learn to be a bit more sensitive to other people in the company. So to be honest, I don't know yet, because the company right now is pretty much all the co-founders at this point. And we'll have to see how that pans out as the company grows. Definitely, I wouldn't say there's like one particular role model, but there are definitely a lot of like female leaders and whom I admire greatly. Obviously, Sheryl Sandberg is the name that we hear a lot, and she's also someone who's very, very vocal on women rights in the workplace and how women can better assert themselves in the workplace. Then Marissa Mayer as well, taking on Mission Impossible while having a baby.
Correct.
And then I mean the other female that is not often as mentioned, but I think extremely commendable is Melinda Gates. Right? I mean, the work she does at Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is incredible. Right? And there's a reason it's called Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and not just Bill Gates Foundation. She's actually a major contributor to the work they do there, and they do extremely meaningful and impactful work. I think my family has been quite supportive so far. So I actually don't live with my parents. I live on my own, with roommates, which gives me a lot of space and time to do what I need to do for the company. But at the same time, I try to make it a point to meet my parents and my siblings for dinner like once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Do you plan to start a family in future as well?
Let me get back to you on that in a couple of years. Sacrifices definitely. There have been periods of time, for example, when the company basically almost ran out of money, and we were going on like no salary for an extremely long time. That meant I couldn't join my friends for the weekly movie weekends, or you had to just stay home as much as possible, not go out to not spend money. So there are times like that, and there will be times like that, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's, to me, no regrets. It's all worth it. But also specifically for female entrepreneurs, I think it's good to know that there are a lot of women entrepreneurs out there as well. You may not hear about them as much, or you may not see them as much, but they are. And the great thing is, whether in Singapore or Silicon Valley or most other entrepreneurship hubs in the world, there are very good female entrepreneur support networks out there. For example, Women 2.0 is a great resource. Plenty of other female entrepreneurs trying to make a dent in the world too. Well, if you're
entrepreneurs, student entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs.
Well, if you want to start a company, whether you're male, female, young, old, whatever it is, just do it, right? Just go ahead and do it.